What's going on, YouTube? R to the double E dash ZON coming at you once again, and just coming at you on a note that I wish I didn't have to come at you guys with. You guys know by now, it's Monday, July 13th, 2015, so the news broke, at least for me, the news broke yesterday. It's very, very sad news. I'm going to try to do this video without getting too choked up, but for those who may not know for whatever reason, Nintendo CEO and global president Saturo Iwata has passed away. He passed away July 11th, which was Saturday, I believe, of a bile duct growth. It's a form of cancer. We know he was dealing with that about a year and a half ago. He had to undergo surgery, missed last E3 because of it. Saw him in the subsequent Nintendo Directs afterwards and saw how much weight he had lost. At that point, I was worried. But then we saw him gain the weight back and look, healthy and his usual full of life self and all the other Nintendo Directs. And so it never crossed my mind. It shocked me. I watched, my wife can testify to it, I sat there and watched easily 50 to 100 YouTube videos yesterday. People sharing their thoughts on him, his life, and the news of his tragic and untimely death. And we were all shocked, man. We were all shocked. Well, what you guys got to understand is this is our industry. You know what I'm saying? I don't say that just as somebody who's in it and pursuing a degree in it and gonna make it my life work. But it's our industry. You know what I'm saying? We're the gamers. You know what I'm saying? We benefit off of what men like Saturo Iwata and so many others, Nintendo or not, or other companies, put out there. And when you lose someone like Saturo Iwata, you lose a giant in the industry. You lose a legend. You lose an icon, an inspiration. Man, you name it. This guy he was with Nintendo since the 80s. Responsible for so much good in the video game world. And I'll briefly go through some of his history and some of his accomplishments just off the top of my head. Didn't want to have any notes. I wanted this to be from the heart because I'm hurting about this. Nintendo's my favorite company. Has been since day one. Continues to be, even though recently, in recent months, I'd say last month or so, I've been a little turned off by them and haven't really been playing my Wii U or anything Nintendo based, just because of the direction I see them going in. But they still remain my #1 company. And if I had faith that any company can turn around a bad spin or a bad generation or whatever, it's Nintendo. They've shown it in the past, and he was a big part of that. You got to understand. This man took over the presidency and the leadership of Nintendo in 2002, coming off the financial disaster that was the Nintendo GameCube. The GameCube, you know how I feel about it. It's one of my favorite consoles of all time. It is an amazing console. It was, in my eyes, the best console that gen, which I believe was the 6th gen, if I'm not mistaken. It was the best console in my estimation, but it was a financial failure for Nintendo. Only sold 22 million systems. It's the worst selling Nintendo console. It won't be for long because it looks like the Wii U is going to take that throne. That's another story. But coming off that disaster, he took over the company. And rather than play it safe and do what Microsoft and Sony and his other competitors were doing that got them success, rather than just copycat, he decided that that was the time. When they were on the ropes, when they were flirting with irrelevancy, that was the time to be innovative and revolutionary and be a visionary and take humongous risks that me, the rest of the gaming world, and maybe even people that worked with him wouldn't tell him to his face, would probably be like, this man has lost his mind, we're going down. And the first one of those risks was a Nintendo DS, which is quite arguably, if I'm not mistaken, the fastest and most selling piece of video game hardware ever created. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it's over the PS2. Or, I don't know if it's over the PS2 in numbers as far as, sales, but when you look at how long it was selling for, the PS2 sold for 11 years because Sony didn't want to take it off the market. If they would have let the Wii sell for 11 years, the Wii would be the #1 selling console, hands down. Same thing with the DS. The DS is the #1 selling piece of hardware ever manufactured. The DS was his brainchild. That was his baby. And he, through that, indirectly created the entire mobile game market and touchscreen gaming. Because before the DS, nobody was playing anything but maybe Snake or something like that on a Nokia. Before the DS, no one was playing video games on a tablet or a smartphone. It was after the DS came out and completely revolutionized the way people look at games and how they can control games that the mobile market took off. That was Saturo Iwata. You know what I'm saying? And then the console side of things. The GameCube was a disaster financially. What did he do? Again, innovation, risk, balls of steel, man. To go in there and say, while our competitors are trying to cram as much power into the new PS3 and the new Xbox 360, we're going to say bump the power. We're only going to make this new system, the Nintendo Revolution as it was codenamed, marginally more powerful than the GameCube. But we're going to come at it with a whole new way to play the game, and a whole new way to interact with your game, and a whole new way to experience this thing we call games. And then he pulls out this Wii remote that we thought Nintendo had lost their minds again. And it became the most innovative and intuitive video game controller in the history of the world, period. And the Nintendo Wii, with a third of the power, if that, of the 360 and PS3, commenced to stomp a mud hole in both of them combined for worldwide lifetime sales. It just completely dominated the 7th gen. That was Saturo Iwata. He took the company that was flirting with irrelevancy, and at the very bottom, and through his innovation and his risk and his his vision of what the future could be like for gaming, and not being scared to think outside of the box, took that company and put them right back on top of the throne where they belonged. That was Saturo Iwata. Now, he wasn't perfect. He had some blunders as well. You know, the Nintendo Wii U, the one we have right now, I think it's an amazing console. I think the collection of games it offers is the best on any console. But the gamepad, it was a mistake. The touch screen and all that, I like it for certain games. Like Zombie U, for example, is an experience that you have to see it to believe it. But as a whole, the gamepad falls short, and it feels dated when you talk about touchscreen compared to the iPad and all these other things. So that was a misstep. Sticking with the Wii brand for the new name of the new system, Wii U, that was a mistake, you know, and it cost Nintendo. He wasn't perfect, but his mistakes, one bad generation, you're going to compare that against 3 pieces of unstoppable hardware. The third one I haven't even listed yet, but the DS, which is the most selling game device ever. The Wii, which is the fastest selling and most popular Nintendo console of all time. And when you talk about consoles, period, Nintendo and any other, even though they say the PS2 is the most selling, like I said, if you let the Wii sell for 11 years, it would have destroyed the PS2. You could just look at the way the sales were going compared to the PS2 when it was in its prime, and the Wii was the fastest selling console of all time. And then the 3DS, which comes out of the gates, puts an affordable way for every consumer out there to have glasses-free 3D in their hands, in their games. Fucking revolutionary. Starts off really slow. Bad lineup of games. That was a mistake. Price drop. Give it some great games. All of a sudden, it's sitting at over 50 million worldwide. So we're really going to compare one bad misstep with the Wii U, as far as how they branded it, how they marketed it, the tablet controller and all that, to the DS, 3DS, and Wii. The man was a genius, man. And who knows? Maybe all the issues they were having with the Wii U going into this generation, maybe it had to do something with his health. We don't know that. Well, you know, only those closest to him will know that. You know, this E3, I gave Nintendo a lot of flack, and rightfully so, because I still think it was a garbage show. But now I'm thinking maybe it's because Nintendo inside knew that his health might have been declining, and maybe they were more focused on that than the show. Because this is a family. I mean, you got to think about it, man. My heart goes out to Reggie Fils-Aimé, Shigeru Miyamoto, Aonuma, and the entire Nintendo family. And especially his immediate family, his wife, kids, you know, relatives. My heart goes out to y'all, man. He was a great man. And I'll talk about something else he did that really blows my mind. But I say my heart goes out to Reggie and Shigeru because, man, you got to understand, these brothers worked together for 3 decades. They went to war together, man, side by side. They lost together, and they conquered the fucking industry together. They ruled the gaming world together. They brought fresh, new, innovative, amazing ideas and watched the money pile in and watched the smiles on people's faces all over the world because of the work they put in together. You know, so I know that they must be devastated. You know, us gamers all over the world, Nintendo fan or not, man, if you're a gamer and you enjoyed... You know, if you've enjoyed games of any kind, but especially Nintendo games over the last 3 decades, you owe your best and fondest gaming memories to this man. Had it not been for this man, there'd be no Kirby. Had it not been for this man, there wouldn't be Smash Brothers as the huge success that it is now. I mean, I remember on the original Wii, my favorite game on the original Wii, out of all the hundreds of amazing games on that system, believe it or not, my favorite game, for those of you who don't know, my subscribers already know, is Endless Ocean 1 and Endless Ocean 2 Blue World. Games that would have never seen the light of day on an even Nintendo system or any other console had it not been for guys like Saturo Iwata, who looked outside the box and said, a game doesn't have to be defined by good guy, bad guy. Story has to be there. There has to be a quest, point A, point B, this order. No. He was just like, man, get in there, explore, have fun. And you could see it in some of the titles that he was responsible for, like Brain Age and Nintendogs. You know, titles that he had a huge influence in. You know, that's my favorite game on the Wii. And I enjoy it to this day because of that man. He was responsible for so many memories in my childhood and so many memories now in my adulthood as a gamer. So I do get a little choked up because it feels like a piece of me is gone. You know what I'm saying? Like this man, I owe him so many hours of enjoyment, and he took me to so many amazing worlds through some of the toughest times of my life to escape to those worlds and those characters that he's responsible for putting in front of me. He's going to be sorely missed, man. And one last story about Saturo Iwata that shows you not just how much of a boss, a legend he was in this industry, but how much of a humble man he was. Because I'm not even going to mention names because I don't want to disrespect anybody, but you know there's a lot of developers out there, producers or whatever, that make one or two games that are worth anything, that are, you know, people like, and they think they're rock stars. Y'all know who I'm talking about. You can take your pick. There's millions of them. All the accolades. Working from the bottom up to become the face and leader of a multi-billion-dollar company. And all the accolades and all the achievements. Still as humble as they came, man. I'll never forget when the Wii U first launched. Had a very strong launch, 3.2 million, I believe it was, out the gates. And then right there in January, right after launch, it just died down. And third party started stabbing them in the back, and no games were coming out, and Nintendo was doing horrible. And they were the butt of everybody's joke, and they were all over the internet. And this man, instead of doing what many CEOs in this position would do, and should, you know, in a lot of cases should do, and lay off people, cut expenses by cutting salaries. No, this man, this amazing man, decided to take a voluntary 50% pay cut to himself so that nobody had to get laid off. When asked why, he said, it's very simple. If our people are worried about losing their jobs and their livelihood, then they can't concentrate on making the best games in the industry. That's a fucking leader, man. That's a great man. So on top of all the accolades and all the accomplishments, there was a heart of gold. And every time he did his Nintendo Directs and all that, you knew and you could see it in his eyes that he was all about you. He was all about the gamer. He wanted the gamer to have the best experience possible. He had you in mind till the very fucking end, because the man was that's one thing I think about Saturo Iwata. One main thing, faithful to the end, because we just got Splatoon that he pushed for heavily. And he's a big reason why this game is such a success, because of the way Nintendo pushed it. That was his call. Splatoon is here, and we're enjoying the shit out of it now. And we're getting all these great maps and all this great content, and it's selling and selling, and everybody loves Splatoon. Faithful to the end, man. He was always there for us till the end. So in closing, man, that's my video, man. I'm tore up about it, man. He was a big part of the gaming industry. And to lose someone like that, especially this early, age 55, is tough, man. He will be sorely missed. Mr. Iwata, from me, myself, my family, my wife, you were awesome, man. Thank you so much for every memory, every moment that you let me, my wife, and so many of us all over the world experience. With your creativity, your ingenuity, your innovation. Things that have affected gaming and transformed forever. That's how we will remember you. And what I'm going to do in a little while, probably the rest of this week, is I'm going to go back and I'm going to play some of them games on the original Wii and GameCube and, you know, Wii U and everything, man, that he was directly responsible for, in some way responsible for, and enjoy them, because I know that's what he would want us to do. So sure, God bless y'all. Stay gaming. To the Iwata family, my deepest condolences and prayers are with you guys. To Nintendo, right the ship in his honor. God bless. Peace.